We have a gangsta government now, but it's not that gangsta. The gangsta government triggered, and they sent the FBI to John Bolton's house. We're going to get into it in today's newsmentary, where we joke about the news because the news is a joke. A joke, not always as in like, haha, but sometimes as in like, ugh, that can't be serious. There can't be serious people operating that government, but they are. A lot of news, lots of news. I'm seeing stuff in my feed even before going live, like Donald Trump is now announcing, where the heck is it? Trump on raiding Bolton's house. That's not the one. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Trump threatens to deploy the U.S. military into Chicago. Interesting. So we're going to listen to that. I haven't even got to hear it yet because it just popped up in the feed. All sorts of great things happening. But, you know, some say, only the best minds out there say that this is all a distraction from the Epstein files and not releasing them. And turns out Ghislaine Maxwell did an interview with Donald Trump's lawyer that now just works for him as the government something. And she said she never even imagined there was a list. We're going to get into it. We'll talk about her interview. We're also going to talk about Schlep, the YouTuber who we've been following, and his newest video. I'm going to play a clip from it. It's called Roblox Take a Seat, featuring Chris Hansen. So Schlep is getting some good action with his cause. And just a brief synopsis. Schlep was a kid who did creator on YouTube, who was doing his best to clean up the Roblox website of predators. And he had gotten 6 arrests. And what did he get in return? Roblox banned him and gave him a cease and desist. And their reasoning is just all messed up. But we're going to get into the latest in that saga. CJ, what is hype mode for? I was wondering. I don't know. Thank you for bringing that up. But we're going to get into YouTube hype mode. I just seen that today. I'll show you what I saw. I was perusing. I like to go here sometimes. They used to have trending up at the top. And I was perusing and I saw music, movies. It usually goes to live and gaming. And I saw hype. And I thought, what the hype? Hype mode? So they replaced trending with hype. And then you can go into the hype category and see what's hyped. The top 100 hyped. I actually had to look it up because when you click on my hyped, it says, go hype some videos. You haven't hyped anything. And I was like, how do I hype a video? I'd love to do that. I was watching, you know, the Daily Beasts uncovering how Donald Trump just continually tries to take over cities and do crazy stuff, raid people's houses to distract from the Epstein files. So I was like, let's hype this video, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And it said the video has to be uploaded in the last 6 days. I should have brought this up, sorry. YouTube hype mode. Manage your hyped videos. Yeah, this is what I was reading before. Giving fans a stake. Is this YouTube official blog? We're going to read from this. So yeah, we're going to get into the hype mode. Hype. Giving fans a stake in the success of their favorite emerging creators. And this is from blog.youtube/news. I do not have this one linked down below. My apologies, but if you're just checking in, we're going to go over YouTube hype mode. If you haven't used the mobile app and done the sidebar thing, we're going to get into hype mode. And hopefully you can hype up this video. I don't even know. I have no idea. So we're going to read the YouTube blog. I want to put up all my hype mode for you. Oh, thank you, CJ. I would appreciate all the hype you could do. It's obviously not a thumbs up. It's not. So what they said, what I read, I'll go through the blog later to explain it. Because again, I just learned about this. It was not something I was preparing for. I have other news articles like Alligator Alcatraz is being forced to shut down in 90 days. So there was $1 billion of your tax money just wasted on destroying the Everglades. Oh my God. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Donald Trump saying that musing about turning DC's national parks into golf clubs, saying he's a grass guy, he knows about grass and not the cool kind of grass like rich people's grass. We're going to talk about the list of some Smithsonian things that the White exhibits that the White House objects to. I mean, you can't really make fun of people saying you drink their liberal tears if you get upset at museum exhibits. You know what I mean? This is just like a rule of thumb. Like if you're triggered by museum exhibits, you probably should stop saying you drink other people's tears. And then we're going to talk about the judge order to slowly close alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades. These are the articles I did link down below. I am Rob, your official YouTube vibe coach. Let's set the vibe. Oh, it changed samples on me. Hold on, folks. I'm trying to really bring more of a Mordecai and Rigby vibe to the live stream. So if you're new here, I'm Rob, your official vibe coach. I do newsmentary. That's what I was waiting for, honestly. I saw the hype, the new hype genre, where you, the sub, the viewer, the maybe content creator, where you can watch other people and hype their videos. I saw that and I thought, oh my God, there's got to be newsmentary. Nope, still just news. Boo. So I'm waiting for the news to turn into a newsmentary subgenre, and that's where you'll be able to find me, because I bring you the news and then we just kind of talk life. It's like if your local newscaster was microdosing mushrooms all the time and just wanted to keep the vibes right no matter what the news was. That's what you'll find here. So enjoy. We need to get you your own studio, Rob. Yes, we do, CJ. Listen, I have visions, okay? Not of grandeur, but I have visions of an amazing studio. My my best friend, my brother. He's a carpenter, and I meant to call him the other day. I was like, hey, you could build me a studio, right? Because I worked in radio for 20 years. I'm like, I know the design I want. I know exactly how my YouTube studio is to look. And you can help me with this dream. Hit subscribe with notification bell. That's how we get there, folks. That's how we get there. And I wouldn't do it. See, this is the thing. The Mr. Beasts, the Philly DeFrancos, they all have this very generic look. They're all doing the same thing. I want my studio different. But I have that vision. I have the vision there. So if you hang around long enough, it's not going to look like me in front of a green screen talking about hype mode-ish and all that, you know. It's not going to be set up like this. I'm going to have my keyboard set up, hooked into my sampler. No, I was looking for... God, I had my samples on the... I can't find it right now, but that's my point, CJ. I would have my sampler, so I would have everything set up. So if we needed to, if the news was getting really intense, we said, guys, let's take a break. Let's do some ASMR or whatever that's called, LMNOP, and we just needed to chill the vibes. We could just can do whatever we wanted, but I can't do it right now because the vibes are not what they should be. I mean, that's great artwork, don't get me wrong, but that ain't the piece that's going to be in the back. Okay, the piece I have is over there. Anyways, enough of me explaining how things are going to get set up. Let's cover some news. Let's go through the daily memes. By the way, if you're new here, I think by law you have to subscribe. You know, that's not me. It's just, you know, the new presidential memo or executive memo or whatever they call it. I'm pretty sure. So just hit that subscribe. I don't want you to get in trouble. Anyways, most news on YouTube is newsmentary. It is. Nobody chatting today. Come on, mods. LMNOP. Don't feel like you got to chat, but if you do, you hit that subscribe button, you get in here in the chat, you add to the conversation. That's what this is about, folks. This isn't interactive news. This is choose your own adventure news, okay? That's really what I'm doing here. I'm trying to bring you the news in conversation form. You don't want to have some guy named Weather Chat Storm, sitting looking at you, just telling you what the news is, not understanding that his bias is for his corporate owners, and they've banned him from saying certain things or positioning them in a certain way. You want Newsman Terry, where it's more of a dialogue, it's more of a conversation. So we're gonna get into, and usually like how we start things is we'll go through, the front page of the internet, Reddit. We'll look at some memes. Look at this. I don't know if anybody's gone food shopping lately, but my Jesus, oh Lord Jesus, help us with egg prices, because it's not looking good, folks. I hate to report that one bag of groceries, and not even like buying the expensive stuff, one bag of groceries was $51 and change. One bag. I walked out with one paper bag and it was $51. And I was like, oh God, not good, not good. And Unusual Whales is confirming what I could already tell you happened in person. Americans are set to pay more for cars, coffee, and clothing as average U.S. tariff rate jumps to high not seen since the Great Depression. Was that the golden age? Was that the golden era he was talking about? And that's per the Washington Post. That's Jeff Bezos' journal. I'm just going to call it all these rich guys' journals now. So be careful, folks. Be careful out there. It's highway robbery. The craziest thing about this Cracker Barrel story, did you hear Cracker Barrel change their logo? I don't care. I don't think I've ever been inside a Cracker Barrel. I know nothing about it. But they changed their logo. And of course, it's amazing how sensitive Republicans are when they claim to be like hardened, like steel, like forged in the hottest fires, like these political muppets. No, not Muppets. I love Jim Henson. What did Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet? These political tuffets, where politicians just plop their face right down on them. These political tuffets really get upset at the slightest change or words or museum exhibits, and we're going to get into that. It's really remarkable. The craziest thing about Cracker Barrel story is that Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for decades and publicly admitted to trafficking young women to him out of Mar-a-Lago. So just remember, never forget, folks. We're going to get into some news. Oh, I didn't link this below, but did you see this? Phil Weiser, whatever his name is. Let's go to the background of the story. This clerk, like the voting clerk or whatever, sentenced to 9 years in prison over voting system breach. Judge called her a charlatan whose lies were well documented. This is the Tina, what's her name? The county clerk lady, Tina Peters, who now Donald Trump is threatening to send in like American military if they don't release her from prison. This is fucking bananas. But the dude, I think he's like the district attorney or something, said Tina Peters was convicted by a jury of her peers and is serving a prison sentence for her crimes. I will not be intimidated by the Trump administration's threats. Colorado will always stand for the rule of law, even when the president refuses to do so. So good on him. More people standing up, standing out. Again, we're going to talk about hype mode. Maybe we'll get into that first, and then we'll play some of the Trump audio. Actually, I really want to hear the Trump audio. We'll get into hype mode in a minute. If you're familiar with Reddit and how that thing works, chuppa. Let's just get the background on here. There we go. There's the background. And we're going to get into John Bolton, his house getting raided. From everything I've read and seen, they said the FBI raided his home because of, what was it? Because he may have had classified or sensitive records that he had possessed. Now, mind you, if Bolton possessed those, I think the last time he was in office or in the government was with Trump in like 2019 or 2020. So that means Bolton's had these things for 5 years. President Trump has been president for, almost 9 months, and now they're just raiding his office. If you really want to know why, or his house, is because he did an interview. I shared it on my community tab. If you want to hit subscribe, then hit the notification bell because I'm here every weekday. Um, and let's face it, this is better news than Philly DeFranco. Philly is such a, fence rider. Uh, if you even watch him, I'm just saying. No offense, Philly, you could be a great guy. You lost like 7,000 pounds, so good for you, keeping with your health and stuff. But you ride the fence like a motherfucker. And what do I say about people that ride the fence, everybody? If you ride the fence, you must have nothing in your nether regions, right? That's what fence riders do, because you can't be sitting on a fence and not feel the pain. And they keep quiet. So Bolton, possessing classified things. Donald Trump, head of, I'll play the clip. He says he's the top cop. Hold on, here's the clip. Trump on the FBI raiding Bolton's house. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. So that's a new role of president. This is like when corporations want to make you feel more important and they just laid off, 60% of the staff. And they're like, hey, you're not only the chief marketing officer, but now you're the chief, what do they call the people at the front when you answer the phones? They call it like the chief of first, the chief of first impressions. So they're like, you're not only the chief operating officer, now you're the chief of first impressions. We're going to move your desk to the front of the building so you can welcome everyone you come in. They give you some churched up title. That's what Donald Trump does just to make himself feel good. He says, I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. So here's the clip.
Deal with it, probably today sometime. I don't want, I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know, but just, you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer.
He said, I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, which is interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it was the attorney general was the top cop. But, in today's America, we got a gangster government where titles don't matter. It's like, what's that show? Whose Line? Where they're like, the points don't matter and Donald Trump will just come after you if he wants to. Old Vet 75 says, you haven't had a single right take. You're right, because I'm a leftist. Thanks. MAGA stands for TDS syndrome. Yeah, the maggots are, I don't know what's wrong with them. We got to re-examine the vibes of those maggots. I don't understand why people keep talking about TDS. Do you know that TDS, that Republican that came up with it, got arrested for soliciting minors? You guys are a weird bunch. Very weird bunch. Phil also doesn't correct information that's false. I thought Philly was pretty, the devil owns the fence. Ooh, Joe and Ange, I like that. I may use that again. I hope you come back and remind me of that one. The devil owns the fence. The truth is no one knows what really happened. The information is being covered up. To what? Everything's being covered up right now. We have the least transparent. The only time this guy, Epstein's best friend, is transparent is when they accidentally leak stuff on a Signal chat or leave papers in a hotel printer or a public printer. I don't know if you're a longtime subscriber. Last week we talked about after the meeting with Putin, or was that? Was that this week? I don't even remember. Everything's a blur. But after the meeting with Putin, there was a story that 3 tourists in Alaska found the Putin meeting summit agenda, locations, times, like crazy sensitive information. Where did they find it? At the hotel's public printer. So the only time they're transparent is when they mess up. I like that. I got to get this thing back up in action. Keep supporting the Democrats. Old Vet, you got a lot to learn. And from your name, you would expect an old dog to know new stuff. But I'm not a Democrat. I don't think people should support the Democrats unless those Democrats are like Graham Plattner, the Maine oyster farmer, who is talking about getting rid of billionaires, taxing them into extinction, raising the federal minimum wage, I talked about it yesterday. You can go watch my live stream from yesterday. It's a great video. And by the way, Graham's people wrote me back. I said I'd reached out to him. Let's see, you know, how legit this dude is. And within one day, his people already wrote me back. I could tell they're busy because they just said solidarity, you know, right back at you, and gave me a bunch of links to stuff. But old vet, you gotta, I try to teach people, not only, you know, am I a news commenter where I just joke about stuff, but sometimes I take the time to be your vibe coach. And old vet, your vibes are all off. You're treating politics like the Super Bowl, like everybody's on Team Red or Team Blue. And that's not, you know, how life works. It's just not how life works. In fact, the whole problem with American politics is people are ride or die for their political affiliation, which is the saddest thing ever, you know, because I've been to a lot of graveyards. I used to go and explore them to see if they were haunted or haunted by homeless people. And I never once came across somebody's grave that said, ride or die Republican, MAGA, you know? I mean, I'm sure Donald Trump at this point will start selling MAGA gravestones. And who knows, maybe, you know, at this point in history, we've gone far enough down to the idiocracy road that people will buy MAGA gravestones. But that's not what life is about. It's not. God's idea of success is helping others. And that's what I try to do here as a leftist. I believe in universal basic health care, $66 minimum wage. That's right. Start freaking out in the comments. I believe in not just concepts of a healthcare plan, but never kicking anyone off, you know, like they did. Trump said, I have concepts of a plan. And then the concepts were, I'm going to kick all the old and young people off. So you got to get out of that red-blue mind space, old vet. And I hope you do. That's why I'm here for you. I say I plant seeds. Plant seeds in your brain that you can't unhear. And maybe where you live, everybody's like, I'm Republican, I'm a Democrat. And that's how they like, I don't know. Is it a new segregation where you live? Where it's like, there's the Republicans drinking fountains. And you go over to the Democrat ones. But where I live, you know, people have a soul, and it's more than that. I know politics has really become stupid now in America, where they think, you know, it's just about your team winning. Cry harder, libs, Trump won, even though I believe the last election was fraudulent, and I pushed my pillow guy almost into the brink of his own destruction because he was saying, oh, it's fake because he lost. And then somehow this one, magically, you guys just all believe that voting now is totally great and everything works. It's fucking stupid. Like, do you hear what I'm saying? I'm describing you guys. God. Anyways, we gotta cover some news. What should we get into first? Actually, before we get into some news, I want to play this clip off of Reddit that I just found before, as I was about to go live. As I was going live, and I said, I'm not even gonna listen to it. I want to hear it with you guys live. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I am Rob. We're going to get into the Schlep Roblox controversy. Alligator Alcatraz is shutting down. Ghislaine Maxwell, some of her interview has leaked when she met privately with Donald Trump's old personal lawyer. Gross, right? Gross. Just gross. And then she got moved to the lowest security prison you could ever go to, which as a S offender, she's not allowed there, but they just don't care. Sometimes my brain hurts because it's like, it's so gross. It's making our communities less safe. And when you read the room in America, this is happening everywhere. Just look at CEO of Roblox, David Baszucki. Old Schlep, the YouTuber, was helping making his platform more safe, and he banned him. So there's a lot of these wealthy elites like Donald Trump. He is a coastal elite from New York, Nepo baby. His dad, Fred Trump, gave him everything. They just don't care about your communities or keeping your kids safe. Arthur Morgan with the super chat, $1.99. I am the CEO of Roblox. I don't know if you want to brag about that right now. And if you are, I'm going to play the clip of Chris Hansen. If you're a sub and you've come to the, thank you, by the way, for the super chat. But Arthur, let me ask you this. Have you watched the Schlep video? Before we play this Trump audio, in the Schlep video, he actually gets Chris Hansen in the video. He does an interview with Chris Hansen. And Chris Hansen says something along the lines of what I was saying 1-2 weeks ago, whenever Soulless, was a long time family member of the channel. Soulless shared the story with me, and immediately I said, why did Roblox and the CEO, David Baszucki, maybe he goes by Arthur Morgan here on, you don't watch those videos? Oh, by the way, Arthur, if you do, I linked the newest Schlep video with Chris Hansen in the description so you can watch it yourself. I'm going to play a clip of it. Here, we'll play a clip right now. Let's just get into it. Here it is. This is Chris Hansen. Now, this is what I said immediately when I heard the story. I said, how did the CEO not hire this kid Schlep? And saying, you're keeping our platform safe. We'd like to work with you, you know, and I'll give you a job. You have some kind of official duty. By the way, the CEO of Roblox is worth $8.1 or $2 billion. So he could hire him. He's got enough money for days. But here's Schlep's video, link down in the description. It's called Roblox Take a Seat, featuring Chris Hansen. Great title. This creator, this kid's Schlep, wicked, wicked talented. You guys ready for this? Here's Chris Hansen.
You could argue that they just don't want that sort of activity on their platform, but you'd think they'd be more worried about the activity that you're exposed to.
That's what I've been trying to get at this whole time.
Worry about that, number one, and then you can have a conversation with young Schlep. I mean, if I were the CEO of Roblox, I would make you an ambassador for security. I would get out in front of this thing and do what would be a fantastic promotional move. I'm a little dumbfounded that they haven't figured it out, given that these guys are in the high-tech world who invented this stuff, and
So that's what Chris Hansen said. What I was saying weeks ago, that a smart move, not just for PR and to get people behind them and for parents to make, or at least to try to convince parents that like we're doing something to keep Roblox safe for kids, is hire him. Chris Hansen said make him an ambassador, but I'd say give him a job. Like, this kid clearly knows what he's doing. Schlep, the YouTuber, has 6 arrests just doing his own stuff, working with the police and trying to contact Roblox. And that's the other incredible thing that was so poignantly said by Chris Hansen. He said they created this. Like, when they try to play dumb or try to play like, oh, it's hard to maintain safety of such a big network. It's like, you guys created this from nothing. Roblox didn't exist before you. Like, you have to be able to figure out a ways. You know, like, it's just, they're lying. And what the insiders at the end of the Schlep video say to him is, actually, let me see if I can scan to it. Hold on, let me get to the, because he said, you know, somebody that didn't want to be identified as an insider spoke about it. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, here. Alleged former Roblox employee speaks out. It's gonna play an ad. You gotta be kidding me. I gotta let the ad play. And welcome everybody, I'm Rob. I'm your official YouTube vibe coach. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go live every single weekday. I'll keep the vibes right while we talk about the news, because the news can sully your vibes. Here we go.
Hansen is flying me out soon to actually feature in his Roblox documentary about exploitation. With everything that we've learned so far, one question persists. Why did I get this cease and desist? I'll let this alleged former Roblox employee answer this question for you.
You have to make a decision, right? You keep your players safe, but then it would be less of them on the platform. Or you just let them do what they want to do. And then all the numbers look good, and investors will be happy.
Now, that's an alleged former Roblox employee, but if you've been a subscriber and hit the notification bell for a while, you would understand that what he just said at the end, the investors are happy, is something I've said about America and business in America. The people, the consumers, ironically, the consumers suffer. The patrons of everything, including Roblox, suffer because every company now, back in the 80s, it went from the customer's always right, to the 90s of we value our employees, to the 2000s of, hey, we don't need to give a rip about anyone because Citizens United let us pay enough money to bribe any politician. And nowadays, it's only what the shareholders think. I mean, online movement and people getting together and making noise and organizing can hold them accountable. But there's a petition right now, which I've shared, I believe, on my community and on my social media, of over 200,000 signatures for the CEO of Roblox to resign, because obviously this wasn't just a stupid move, but it shows that, you know, he might not be the best equipped to be the CEO worth $8 billion. I mean, at $8 billion, you got to have a better answer than, well, if you don't feel comfortable having your kids on Roblox, then just don't let them go on. Like, that was literally, we played that on one of these episodes. I played the audio of him saying that. That's the $8 billion answer. For all the people who like to bootlick CEOs and say, well, they work harder. That's not a work harder answer. That's a dollar store general answer. Okay, that's, well, even they're worth billions, but you get what I'm saying. And every company nowadays, and it doesn't matter, and I say the irony, because if you are hurting your consumers, your patrons, the people who come to your, use whatever service or store you have, if you hurt them, you won't have anybody to make you that 8 billionaire. Like, those people used to be valuable, and now, like this Roblox insider, alleged insider said, he said it's all about making the shareholders happy. Are they getting the returns? Are we doing stock buybacks? How's the dividends? What's the stock numbers? And the stock is all made up. It's all vibes, folks. If you don't believe me, look at Elon Musk and Tesla. That's all vibes. It's not about new equipment. It's not about nothing. The one thing I did like in Schlep's video, he said after the news caught wind of this and reported on it, the vibes of the stock market, again, it's all vibes. Roblox lost $12 billion. So, David Baszucki, your vibes, this is why I'm your official vibe coach here on YouTube. Hey, did that shut off? Hold on. This is why I'm your official vibe coach here on YouTube. Damn it. It's switch samples. Sorry, it shut off and switched samples. I was hoping to hit the other one, but this is why I say I'm your official vibe coach, because some people just need a vibe coach. Some people do not need Tony Robbins and Dean Grifter Graziosi, which I believe Graziosi means grifter in Italian. They don't need that because they just want to take your money. But I'm not trying to take your money. I'm just trying to help you with your vibes. And David Baszucki, because his vibes were so rotten, his company lost $12 billion. How do you explain that one? But he still has his $1 billion job, so... let's look at the chat. What the hell is going on in the chat? Oh my God. I'm glad Roblox lost money. Me too, 10 Light Star 01. Cool name. We hate Roblox. Listen, there's nothing to hate about it. But you can, I would say, like, you can hate the decisions the CEO made. You can hate that he does not care about the kids that he targets to be on his platform. You can hate that he mishandled. He more than mishandled. He stuck his head up his own booty when it came to the Schlep thing. You can hate him being worth $8 billion and doing like the least work possible to make a platform, which again, he targets kids to be on, the least safe for them. I think someone was just abducted from Roblox and whatever. I don't know that story, but you know what I mean? Like, and if I was the head of a company and that happened, I'd be like, not on my watch. I have $8 billion. I can go to the ends of the earth to make this the safest. We invented this. We can invent safety protocols, and they just don't care. So I would just say, you know, like Roblox, there's people and creators like Schlep, who, you know, are doing good things or having fun or it's entertainment. I think we have to focus it down to really what you hate about that. It can't just be like, you know, I hate Roblox, but there are certain things that you need to hyper focus in on. Like, number one, sign the petition. Let's get David Baszucki out of there. Let's get someone who cares about the kids that are, you know, patronizing the platform mostly in there. Bolton is a tool. Okay, we'll talk about Bolton. We'll talk about Bolton. So John Bolton did an interview with the Daily Beast. I've been hyping them up. Even though they paywall their news articles, I hate that. I really can't stand it. Because it's like, listen, here's my argument, okay, to all the companies doing paywalls for the news. Number one, isn't it like Jeff Bezos' motto where he says democracy dies in darkness? Or I guess it's the Washington Post. They say democracy dies in darkness. Democracy now and their host, which I would suggest watching Democracy Now! Here on YouTube, they say information is the oxygen to a democracy. So these are important things for us to have the news not paywalled, not behind something where you have to pay for it, because this is the news. But more importantly, they have banner ads, pop-up ads, ads all over the place, ads that you can't even get away from popping up. They have ads that once you start scrolling down, they start scrolling up and it blocks you. They have all sorts of ads already. So why do you need me when I'm already bombarded with all these ads to also pay to get through your gate of needing? They're like trolls charging you a fee to get through the bridge to information. So that's my argument for that. If you're watching, Jeff Bezos, hit subscribe and notification bell. 10 Lightstar 1. Where does most of our news come out of a lot? It just comes out of Washington, D.C. and the United States garments. So it's a monopoly. I would say, who belongs in prison? Tia? Are we talking about Donald Trump? 100%. Totally. He's a criminal. Gangsta government. Lightstar, I would say the monopoly isn't so much of where it comes out of, but I would say it's who's disseminating it. You know, the news essentially is owned by like 5 mega corporations. Why do you think Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post? I mean, it's even so brazen as like Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. And sometimes, like Ariana Huffington has her HuffPost. Michael Bloomberg, that billionaire twat, he owns Bloomberg, you know? So like they even put their names on it. It used to be back in the days, it was like the Boston Town Crier, or the Boston Globe Daily, or the Honolulu, I don't know, what was it, the Honolulu Star? The Honolulu Star Evening Edition. So it would be like the city or, you know, the place that the news was taken care of. And now we've become so normalized to these vapid billionaires that they're just naming their news outlets after themselves. Then in that case, I consider it a fucking blog, you know? Like, you're not giving me the news, you're telling me your position on shit, and you just have other people writing it for you. Anyways, this is just my thoughts. My apologies. We're going to get into the John Bolton stuff. Whiskey and tattoos, asking me if I showered today. Wouldn't you like to know? So funny of a man coming in here to ask me if I showered. Are you flirting with me, whiskey and tattoos? What kind of comment is that? That's what you spent your time typing? You typed that out? You really came into my live stream to ask me if I showered today? Is that what you're envisioning? How I shower and I drop my hair and wash it with my shampoo and get all soaped up? Whiskey and tattoos, were you trying to like make fun of me and say like, oh, this guy doesn't shower? Because number one, I'm saving water for the earth, but number two, I want to let you know that when you come in and say stuff like that, what I hear it as, oh, this guy's trying to flirt with me. This guy wants to envision me showering. So you need your vibes corrected, okay? Is that how you kiss your mother with those lips? You French kiss your mother with those lips that are saying these things? So weird that people would just come into a stranger. Like the internet has totally desensitized people, desensitized people to like some kind of proper conduct. Now everyone's a troll. It's so sad. Yeah, whiskey and tattoos. I bet you're on Grindr with your totally not troll account. And listen, we support the gays, the LGBTQ plus community. We're anti-racist, anti-homophobic. We are against all kind of bias and hate and misogyny and all that stuff here. So we totally support you. We totally support you, Whiskey. You know, you come out here, you be proud and loud like them proud boys. Those proud boys, they're just the proudest little boys. They're proud over the wrong stuff. They should just come out. You know, they all look so adorable in their little, what kind of shirts? Those yellow collared shirts tucked into their khaki pants. That's really a vibe check. They need a vibe check. Like, guys, you know, you shouldn't all come matching like little Charlie Browns over here. Fucking losers. That's what happens when you stay inside for too long and don't talk to anybody outside of your race. You know, let that be a lesson. Those people are hateful and their vibes are horrible. And they can't dress well. Anyways, Jason Tuttle. Say stuff that just, you know, I don't know. Oh, Brandon's here. He's another guy who loves supporting Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and comes in and asks me about a job every day. Brandon, I'm gonna be so excited when I'm like, guess what? This is my full-time job. I got my studio all set up. I got everything ready to go. Does this give the live a little more of a Mordecai and Rigby regular show feel? Anyways, oh, Bo's in here too. Bo is another one with a troll account. For those who might be new, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Bo and Brandon love to come in here. They're like the ambiguously gay duo. Remember that on Saturday Night Live? They come in here. They don't want to do anything but protect Epstein's best friend. They get so upset. They get so butthurt if you criticize or talk about the news or what a ridiculous petty tyrant he is. But they're here every day. They are some of my most loyal fans. I will say that. Nirvana, the greatest band ever. And they call me Antifa, which I'm proud to be Antifa. You should too. All Americans should be proud to be anti-fascists. Just a kid, Bo is probably too stupid to know what that means. Probably thinks it's some gang. People are really dumb. Oh, it's not their fault. Someone failed him in life, probably his parents, but what are you going to do? All right, let's get into the John Bolton story. We talked about Schlep. Link the video down below. Tia, suspected of, investigated for working with our biggest adversary, traitor to our country and constitution, cheated on all 3 of his families, 64 failed businesses, 6 bankruptcies. That's amazing. I know that's Trump. By the way, did you see the New York Times or New York Post? No, not the Post. I think it was, or the New Yorker. It was one of those fancy hoity-toity New York magazine journalists, whatever. I shared it on my community, so hit subscribe, go to my community post after this and scroll down. This guy investigated how much money Donald Trump is capitalizing off of the seat of the presidency, the highest public servant seat in the land. Remember, he's a public servant. He works for us. People, not I, voted for him to represent them. And what is he doing? He turned around and he's getting jets from Qatar, launching meme coins. He's cashing in. He's getting bribes from all these corporate gods that people worship and bootlick and think they're worth billions. And it turns out his numbers, and you should watch the video for yourself. You really should, because it's fascinating to see how much he's sold out the people, all to enrich him and his family. Another reason why he probably thinks he's going to hell, if you heard him talk about that the other day. He's low on the totem pole to get into heaven, which means when you're low on that totem pole, that's layman's terms, means you're going to hell. So that's his thinking, not mine. But he said it was like $3-point-something billion in his first 9 months of being president. He's made $3.9 billion. And for all the maggots that I know are here, Jason Tuttle, one of them, says he gives his paycheck to veterans. Yeah, well, he stripped them of their VAs and fired everybody that works there and ripped DEI out of it, which DEI hires veterans. I love how people will be like, well, he gives his paycheck to veterans. Oh yeah, that totally excuses him using the presidency to basically enrich himself and his family. I forgot. He gave his, and I don't even think that's true, but like the way these people rationale it is, well, he gave his paycheck to veterans. I don't care if he made $3 billion off the seat of the president. But the funny thing is, and this was going to be my point, that these same people, if Joe Biden was having, the new Ford Bronco with O.J. Simpson out in the front of the White House lawn, these people would be having a conniption. They'd be calling for his arrest and all this. But, if Joe Biden, I always like to say, Joe Biden should have, while he was in the White House, opened up a used laptop store and an auto pen shop. He could have had his son, Hunter, on the White House lawn, said, we're selling used laptops. We're calling it Hunter Biden's Laptop Emporium. And they could have just went into business selling old and refurbished laptops. And these people that are in the chat would be, their heads would explode. Like they wouldn't even be able to tolerate it. They'd be like, this is crazy, this is from the president. And now that Donald Trump is like, hey, buy my non-fungible token of my head on Rambo's body, they're like, that's a president I could support. But he's setting the tone, you know? Who knows? Maybe Hunter Biden will be president next. And you could take a tour of the White House, and they'll have a gift shop where it's not even for the White House. It will just be an emporium called Hunter Biden's Laptops, and you can buy old and used laptops there. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, is a wounded veteran. Correct. Thank you, CJ. LP, God, this guy is so full of himself. Are you talking about Trump? Oh, Bo, that's a good idea. Hunter Biden could open up a head shop and sell pipes. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. See, but you guys can't make jokes that, about Donald Trump doing this, but I'm glad you could give me fodder for making jokes about that. Oh, whiskey and tattoos. You're going to get a 24-hour timeout. Once you start encouraging people to say racist stuff, I'll give you one try. You can come back tomorrow in 24 hours, but let this be very clear. I will just ban you from the channel. I have no problem. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grand-uncle is John Brown. You probably don't know who he is, so you should look it up, but I don't tolerate any of that shit. You understand me? So we'll just get you right out of here if you want to start dipping your toe in the racist stuff. We'll just kick you right the fuck out. So, and Bo probably upset. What about my free speech? Well, sissy, hate isn't free speech. So, go start your own live stream. Really, Bo, it's exhausting. I know you're my #1 fan, but you guys and your sensitivity over talking about the news, which pertains to this PDF file, is exhausting. You guys simp for a guy who's making everybody's lives much, much harder. In fact, we're going to talk about John Bolton. John Bolton, if you didn't watch the interview, I shared it. He did an interview with the Daily Beast, and they reclipped it and released it earlier today. So you could just watch the finite part of where he hurt Trump's feelings, where he triggered Donald Trump. Because he says, like, Donald Trump, don't read the briefings. He thinks he's smarter than anyone. He thinks he can just size up a guy by looking at him. He thinks he knows more than other people, even though, that's why you hire these specialists within your regime that he does. And John Bolton just detailed what it was like working for him. And if you know anything about this petty tyrant who's in the White House right now, you know that he pulled John Bolton's security detail, years ago. And again, this is a life lesson. Here's when I put my vibe coach hat on. Guys, if you're going to work for someone new, or if you're going to change jobs or something, the best way to get a feel for that is talk to people who have worked there before or who have worked there the longest. Because what you're going to find out is you don't want to work for a dickhead like Trump. Because what does he do to people who worked for him, did the job he wanted and then left? Well, he treats them like garbage. He's a petty, vengeful tyrant. And that's what he's doing with John Bolton. So John, how dare you dissent against the king of America? That's what Trump's probably thinking. Because any critique, he can't handle it. Just watch an interview where somebody asks him something that Donald doesn't like. He goes, that's not a very nice question. Not a nice question. Failing community. And it's like, I thought you were supposed to be like, alpha male or tough or resilient or just not so thin-skinned. But he's very thin-skinned. In fact, he cannot handle anything besides praise and accolades of being the chief police officer in the land. That's why when they were showing all the Elon meetings, where he had the whole regime in that one room, and Elon would be there, and everyone would just go around and be like, "I just would like to thank him for being the best in the history of history. Not since Alexander the Great have we seen such amazingness." And they would just do this like. You know, who can stick their nose up his arse the hardest, because that's what he likes. And John Bolton's not doing that. So John Bolton did this interview with the Daily Beast. I'm not going to play it because it's like, you know, the whole interview is pretty long. But the thing they clipped is maybe 7 or 8 minutes, and you just get like a vibe of John Bolton being like, yeah, Trump's a moron. Like, he don't pay attention. Putin, he talks about Putin in the meeting, and he's like, Putin's well-versed and stuff. Like, to be truly an evil tyrant, if you want to use that language, you have to be like pretty intelligent. You know, you got to know your enemies, and you got to know who can be brown-nosed and who can be buttered up, like this buttercup right here. And that's what he's talking about. He's like, every time, he's like, the time I meant to meet Putin, Putin was, you know, 2 steps ahead of the game. He knew everything we were referencing, everything we were talking about. He was well-learned and well-read. And then he was like, and Donald Trump don't like to read. You know, I'm surprised he don't like Sesame Street, because that motherfucker maybe don't know how to read. But he basically said that. And this interview was a few days ago. And today, news, everybody wakes up, John Bolton's house being raided. And then when you start hearing about why, you go, that's weird. He has maybe classified documents, the thing that Donald Trump was charged with 40 felonies for, and then convicted of 37. That's weird. You would think this guy didn't care that much about classified documents in a house. But more importantly, if he had classified documents, they have to be at least from 5 years ago. What, did he just go to the White House and pull off some Nick Cage National Treasure mission to scoop up some documents? You know? And if you know anything about raids, the FBI usually does them to catch someone by surprise, so they're not like, you know, what's his name? The dude in Goodfellas. Henry? I forget his last name, Henry something, where Henry's dumping all the coke flushing it down the toilet, you know, like that's why he's using a raid, not because John Bolton has like a folder from the White House there. And this is all alleged. But the FBI, Cash Patel, old Cash Money, who said the list don't exist. But he said it like this: the list don't exist. I know I did a podcast for 2 years saying we're going to get it, and that the FBI director has it, but now it don't exist. He's tweeting, no one is above the law, at FBI agents on a mission. And it said, it's not immediately clear what sensitive records federal investigators believe Bolton may have possessed, but with 6 vehicles around 7 a.m., they blocked his street, and there's photos and everything. I linked the news story down below. It is hilarious, especially because, you know, Donald Trump was the OG classified documents holder at his house. So when you start to hear about the whole story, you go, well, it doesn't make sense. Number one, it's just a distraction, right? This guy will do anything to distract from him being in these files. He'll do anything to distract from it. So little FBI raid on a Friday morning, okay. But it also doesn't make sense that how would John Bolton have anything unless it was 5 years old? And at that point, like, just ask for him back, you know? He's held on to him for 5 years and it's not an emergency until now. Weird. So I wanted to talk about that. Henry Hill. Thank you so much, Jason Meyer. Thank you. Henry Hill. Oh, TT's in here saying something about soy boys. And whenever they bring up soy boys, I, number one, say soy is absolutely delicious. And then I call them fascist lactates. Because that's what you are. You support a fascist. Hokey pokey. Cicada? Okay. That's an interesting name. What do you think about Peter Thiel being responsible for J.D. Vance being placed into the White House? Well, we'll see what happens when it's President Vance, you know? Because it's just weird, Donald Trump talking about getting into heaven now and all this stuff, and then you see his old muffin top McCankle's taco tits with how fat his ankles are. I never thought his ankles could get that fat, but who knows? He's breaking records. So, I mean, Peter Thiel is a whole different animal. And if you go to Cicada, or whatever your name was, if you go to yesterday's live stream, I forgot to talk about this. I linked a YouTube video about Palantir and Peter Thiel and how the people who claim to be libertarians and small government ultimately support guys like Peter Thiel, who claims to be a libertarian wanting small government. But if you know anything about Palantir, they are working with the government and corporations to track you they are the new Skynet. They just want to track you with every single thing you do. So there's this deep, I call it sad hilarious. I had to blend these two words together, sad and hilarious, because it's wicked funny at how dumb these people are, but it's also very sad because they're thinking they're libertarians, which unless you're Peter Thiel, you're not a libertarian. You don't own Palantir. And Peter Thiel wants small government so he can control people. He can that's why these corporations are talking about building corporate towns where you work and live all in the same place. Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. But those are the true libertarians, and even they're a joke because they still want the government to regulate like women's bodies and their right to vote and stuff. So they don't really want to get rid of government. They just want to use it for the nefarious, over ridiculous, cartoonish, evil plans. All right, let's hold on. Where did it go? Oh, did you guys? So speaking of tariffs, oh, liberal trigger here. There is a lot of Troy says Bo Sneed still here. I see. Oh, Troy, God bless you. Because what you're gonna realize about Bo, liberal triggerer, all these tough warrior alpha beta cuck skibbity rizmas, all these people, they come every day. And it's okay because I'm planting seeds. The thing you can't undo is like if they're racist or misogynist or homophobic or anti-Semitic, or like you can't heal that part of them. They have to do it on their own. But at least we'll plant some seeds to make them understand they're in a cult of this guy and his best friend here, and they're making our communities much less safe. It's so funny. Yeah, I think they're either Albanian bots or they're just very sad people that think having like liberal triggerer as a handle is cool. Maybe they're in like Glenn Beck's live streams for the rest of the day, and Glenn Beck's probably like the ultimate cringe skibbity rizma. He's like, oh, what a cool name! You must rule the internets. But really, they're just sad people. I would imagine they're probably like 53-year-old something sitting in Oklahoma, staring out their back window where the sun has just disappeared before this very rainy lightning cloud that's about to shoot lightning on their tractor after Donald Trump canceled all their FDA government contracts. And they're like, God damn, I can't admit this to no one. So they go online and they're like, I'm going to dunk on some liberals, even though I'm not a liberal. And these idiots still don't understand that. How is Trump racist or evil? Jason Meyer, I would like you to look up the 1970s Donald Trump. I've shared this before. But if you're going to be this stupid, then okay. You should look up the 90s. He took out a full-page ad calling for like the conviction, much worse though, of 5 black kids who were proven to be innocent. So he took out a full-page ad. That was one of his racist things. And then here, you can go online. Hopefully you have online. I think it should be a national utility, but you and your libertarians think that Verizon should own it all and charge you whatever they want, and that's good for the country. Morons. But there's details in news articles about Donald back in '73 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination because he would not rent apartments to African Americans. And that's back in the 70s. So, guess what, guys? There's an emporium of information online. It's called the World Wide Web. You can utilize it for more than just like Tucker Carlson and whatever sick stuff you're going on Roblox for. I would imagine Schlep probably isn't friends with you. But really, like, there's ways to find this out. You could even just type in Donald Trump racist, and you'll find out that he, way before president and before he was your TV god, way before he was the only coastal elite Nepo baby that you would ride or die for, he was a racist. just the Justice Department, and their investigation of him not renting to black people, like, established that back in the 70s. And by the way, in the 70s, he was like 40. This guy is so fucking old. I love when people say, go live in Canada. Number one, that'd be cool. Like, I like Canada. But number two, I live in America because I push for this country to be better. While you want it to go back to the days of segregation, I want it to be where people can say, this is the land of the free. And it means free to marry and free to be who you are. Free to control your own body, for all my ladies and my feminists out there. So we need people that are going to speak out against you asshats in the chat. Jason Meyer, I'm not ride or die for anyone. I don't know personally. Show me someone who's a better option and I'll vote for that guy. Well, there's your issue. You said that guy. A woman could be a much better option. But here's the thing. If you're not ride or die for him, then you should really get off the fucking bus. Because just this alone should be enough. Like, just the video of him in the New York article in 2002 of him saying he's a great guy, fantastic, likes women younger than me. Like, those are what I call, like, deal breakers, where, like, someone starts spouting that shit and I go, oh, gross. Never. But, cheers to learning stuff. That's why I say I'm planting seeds. Hey, Liberal Turger, I'm just going to let you know now I'm going to ignore all of your comments. Just because it's fun. If you want a super chat, maybe I'll read one. But other than that, I'm just going to ignore everything. So mods, CJ, don't, unless he gets racist. You know the rules, mods. So unless he does any of that, just let him stay in here and let him keep spending his time, his chubby little tiny hands. Let him keep typing away. I'm just going to ignore them all right. What was the next news story? You made me look something up. Oh, did you guys hear? I don't like Jeffrey Sachs, but somebody clipped it with Donald Trump, because if you've gone shopping lately, you know that prices are out of control. One bag of groceries cost me $51. One bag. This is like ridiculous. But Jeffrey Sachs a few months ago, basically, and I hate Jeffrey Sachs. He's not a good person, but he knows economics, So it's not me saying this, folks. Get mad at one of your economists that actually I think even worked with or for Trump. But somebody clipped it and I want to play it for you. It's only a minute long, but this is good information in case you didn't hear it. The whole video for Jeffrey Sachs is on YouTube. I didn't link it down below. But here's Trump starting off.
We've been ripped off for many, many years. The United States has been ripped off like no country probably in the history of the world has been ripped off.
So he said, we've been ripped off for many, many years. You remember before he started doing the tariffs? He said, we've been ripped off for many, many years.
45, 50 years.
And there were people out there that were like, yeah, we have. Yeah. Fucking morons. And here's Jeffrey Sachs.
Take your credit card and you go shopping and you run up a large credit card debt. You're running a trade deficit with all those shops. Now, it would be pretty strange if you then blamed all the shop owners for having sold you all those things. You're ripping me off. You're ripping me off. You're ripping me off. I'm running a trade deficit. That is the level of understanding of the President of the United States. The trade deficit does not represent at all trade policies. It represents spending relative to production or earnings. We call that an identity. I teach it in the second day of my course in international monetary economics. Trump never made it to the second day.
Now listen, if you've ever read this book, hold on. If you've ever read this book, The Shock Doctrine, you'll understand Jeffrey Sachs is not a good guy and how he got his start in using the CIA and other fascist means to disassemble the great social programs that were going on in South America. You'll understand he's not a good guy, so I don't support him at all. But he's just saying there, what it is. Like, Donald Trump says, like, we've been ripped off by other countries. And then he went to implement his tariffs. But if you think further about that, what Jeffrey Sachs is saying, that, you know, if you go to a store and buy something and then say, you ripped me off because you sold me stuff, and that's essentially what Trump is saying. But what I really want you to do is put on your critical thinking cap. Let's take off the tinfoil one, critical thinking hat on. Who sent all the jobs overseas? Do you know? It wasn't Americans. Americans weren't going, I'm going overseas to work where there's looser workers' rights, looser regulations, lower pay. No, it was the American corporations that went, we're going to pay other countries where we don't have to deal with workers' rights. Things that people, Americans, worked and died for, fought and died for, to get, to earn here. And these corporations care so little about us, you as a consumer, the economy, anything besides their profits and meeting Wall Street's expectations, that they sent all the jobs overseas. So it's just this big rigmarole of, like, you know, a dumb person thinking he sounds smart, and even dumber people going, that sounds smart, and then we're here, $50 one bag of groceries. Oh, something's going on in the comments where people are having a conversation, which I love it and I encourage it. Go on with your bad self. So I wanted to play that for you. But the Jeffrey Sachs video is online in its entirety. Where did this? Hold on. Where did the other Trump thing? I gotta shut off the sound. Hold on. Where did it go? Sorry, I had something else lined up and it just disappeared. It was the new news about Trump saying he's going to invade Chicago, which I had not heard, and I was saving to do it with you guys. And then something refreshed and it's gone. Oh, this is, hold on, listen to this. I was going to talk about this too. So Donald Trump, link down below, was going to, where the fuck is it? So in the article down below, Donald Trump has mentioned that he was going to turn DC's parks into golf clubs. And he says, you know, one of the things that we're going to be redoing is our parks. Which, by the way, I just want you to remember, while people were worried about egg prices, gas prices, rent, all these things, this motherfucker is redoing the nation's lawns. Oh my God. Like, read the room, bro. People are like, hey, can you lower the price of egg? And he's like, I'm going to redo all the lawns, tear them up, make them the greenest. Like, absolutely bananas. And here's part of him talking about that. I think I just found this. Hold on.
You know, like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. You know, we have a life and grass has a life. And the grass here died about 40 years ago. You know, like everything.
Everybody else hearing that like I do, this sounds like some old grandpa rambling to people at a nursing home. Grass has a life. It died 40 years ago. People are worried about the price of eggs and rent, bro. PlayStation just announced that all their PlayStation models jumped in by $50. PlayStation just raised their prices on everything by $50 thanks to old Trump tariff. And he's like, I'm going to redo the grass. What a fucking dick. He's such an asshole. Oh my God. KRAR, Barbie McPherson, like the name. He just learned plants are living things. He's like, he's like, it has a life. Who would have known? I thought it was just there and fake.
Everything else, grass has a life. Do you?
This fucking dude just learned it. KRAR, I think that's your name. Oh my God. Oh my God. KRAR. So brilliant. So guys, that's actually the story. Donald Jeffrey Epstein, Taco Trump, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Taco Trump, just learned that a plant is a living thing, and here's the audio from it.
Like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. You know, we have a life and grass has a life. And the grass here died about 40 years ago.
He's got to be the dumbest president we've ever had. Oh
I
my
love
God.
those explosive barrels
Hold on. I gotta try to find this. Where's the Trump take over Chicago thing? Is this it? Ah, that's a photo of it. Hold on. Sorry, I had this lined up. You're just gonna have to bear with me. I'm gonna have to Google it. No, I think it's farther down here. And then we're gonna talk about alligator Alcatraz. Ooh, the Valigator. My grandma had dementia. She sounded less crazy. The Valigator. Great name, by the way. Thank you for the $2 super chat. That's what I mean. Like, listen, my grandparents all died when I was young, but I know other old people, and sometimes like old people just got to start saying stuff, and that feels like one of those times where like someone maybe just taught him like the living, like the life cycle of grass, and he's like, sounds like you're, as the Valigator says, it sounds like my grandmother has dementia. She sounded less crazy, and he's like, grass has a life. Who would have known? We have life, grass has life. And the grass died 40 years ago. Oh, good God, this guy. I really want to find this. I'm gonna have to search for it. I'm very sorry. Trump. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it says he's. Oh, here it is. I haven't heard this. I have not heard this yet, but this is on r/military. Trump says he's willing to deploy the regular military to American cities. He adds that Chicago is next and then will help with New York. So they're trying to normalize an authoritarian fascist takeover right now, using the American military against American people. Nobody's talking about capitalism. I love freedom too. That's why we don't like authoritarians. They take freedom like Trump had so much. Well, I'll talk about capitalism. Capitalism is horrible. It's the root of a lot of these issues. It puts profit over people. That's why we have healthcare CEOs, and that's why healthcare will gatekeep you from the healthcare that your doctor says you need because of capitalism. We need it a different way. If you look at the happiest countries in the world, one where their citizens are usually most happy, least stressed, it's always the Scandinavian countries because they have the biggest welfare state, which means that they have a lot of socialist programs that they implement to make sure their people aren't always in need, like here in America. Capitalism is the reason we have so many private profit prisons, why we have more people in prison than anywhere else. Capitalism is why 1 in 5 kids every night here in America, not in a third world country, 1 in 5 kids go food insecure, go hungry every night here in America, your neighbors. So capitalism is the root to this. But I just wanted to, if you say we're not talking about capitalism, everything in America. The reason that we're looking at Roblox, that story with Schlep earlier, that's capitalism. If you want to boil it down, their CEO of Roblox said, if we implement safety protocols, this is my theory on it, and this is what alleged insiders from Roblox said. If you want to implement safety protocols, that will mean less people will get through, like less users will be on because it will weed some of these younger kids out, or, it just might boot out some of the predators. And instead of doing that, this $8 billion CEO, David Baszucki, David old suck it, he would rather do nothing and say, well, parents, if you're scared about your kids going to Roblox, don't let them go on, even though he's spending a lot of money to target those kids to go on his website. So even though he's targeting your kids, he's saying, well, then just don't let them on there. Instead of, and again, this is an $8 billion man, instead of just implementing these things. And why? To keep the shareholders happy. There's capitalism. Capitalism is every company now wanting to meet the demands, Wall Street's expectations. Always more profit in a finite system. Now in science, they call that cancer. Here we call it capitalism. They call it good motive, the profit motive, the grind culture, and it's sickening. And we shouldn't have old people who are working at Target when they should be retired. We shouldn't have young people who need wheelchairs that can't get them because their health insurance company said, no, you don't really need it. We know your doctor said so, but we have no medical profession like history or authority at all. We're just the ones who take your money and then say you can't have it. So really, really bad. But let's play this. Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump, old Taco McCankle's muffin top tits talking about sending the military to more cities. I guess all you maggots are fine with that, right? You're fine with him sending American, like, no more wars unless it's American troops in American cities, right? Is that what you're okay with?
And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll.
By the way, he's wearing a hat that says Trump was right about everything. What kind of psycho do you have to be to wear a hat that says, like, I was right about everything when you're wrong so often? Where are the Epstein files, Trump? That's all this is. Just so you know, when I hear this, I go, oh, he's distracting. He doesn't want to release the Epstein files. So he will literally deploy the military into cities instead of releasing the files.
Go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent.
Rose B. These commenters want to be the serfs to the oligarchy. They do. As Hassan Piker says, they have peasant brain. You know, they are absolutely medieval serfs and peasants just wanting what they consider an alpha male in Donald Trump, even though he's the most insecure, petty, vengeful, scorned ex-boyfriend you've ever had. Like, this dude, if you ask him a question that he doesn't like in an interview, instead of handling it like a man and answering it, he goes, that's not a nice question. Aren't you, what are you from? That's a failing magazine, isn't it? Like, he's bitch made. What man do you know or woman do you know that you consider pretty tough who's like, that's not a nice question. You're not from a real place. Please get out of my sight. I need to save space. So more of that. So thank you, Rose, for the comment.
Mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York, and we're going to help with. And I think a lot of these people that you see on television, they're including the people in this audience. They'll say bad things about me.
There it is. They'll say bad things about me. Oh, do you need a safe space? You got to send the military because people said something nuts.
And then they'll say, thank God he's here, because half of them got mugged, and they don't want to get mugged again. But
by the way, if you look up overall, Chicago's crime stats are down 5%.
They work for they work for stupid people that are radical left, and they're made to do things.
The funniest thing, I wish a reporter would ask him this. Well, two things. One, where are the Epstein files? Like, I wish after he did that tirade, they just said, excuse me, sir, is this another distraction, or are you going to release the Epstein files? Because that's what we need to be doing with him, because that's what he's doing right now. He's trying to distract. But number two, when he says the radical left, which I consider myself proudly as one of them, the radical left wants you, even you maggots, the ones that worship, that want to be serfs, that, want to just follow an alpha cult leader, that want to follow a guy who wears a hat that says, I was right about everything. The radical left, want you to have healthcare paid for by your taxes, but preferably billionaires' taxes. We tax billionaires to extinction. They can just be fine being 999 millionaires, and we use that money for healthcare. I want you to have it, even you maggots. So I wish somebody would say, what do you define as the radical left? Somebody who doesn't have concepts of a healthcare plan that kicks old people, young people, kids off their healthcare plan? Because the radical left wants a living wage, communities to be built by people who own their own homes, no more corporate landlords. We want a $66 minimum wage. I know that's going to freak some of you out. But also, we want people to never have to consider calling an Uber instead of an ambulance, which they do in America. We don't want GoFundMe to be the largest medical money funding site. Like, there are so many things we work on. We want women to be in charge of their own bodies, Like, what if we said men can't do this gender affirming stuff like Elon does, like with his hair plugs or the hair surgery, or Donald Trump can't tan anymore, Maybe he's green underneath. I don't know. But like, you know, how are they allowed to control women's bodies? This is so. We want people when they say it's the land of the free. You're free to marry whoever you want. That kind of freedom. But these people, it's insane. So that's the first time I've heard that. That's right, Rose. He's been a loser for longer than 40 years. How old is he? 89? 79? 80? I don't know. He's been a loser for 80 years. All right? 80 years. He came out of his daddy's butthole and he was already rich. He's a Nepo baby, coastal elite, born and bred. And somehow people think like he's one of us. Unless you run a predator ring, he ain't one of you. He was best friends with that dude. And that's what he's doing, distracting. Distracting. Okay? He's distracting. By the way, I was going to talk about this. The 63-year-old Ghislaine Maxwell. This was what she said, allegedly, in that meeting with, I forget his name. She said, I did introduce him to women. I did, but not underage. She also, hold on, I want to get to the part. Oh, yeah, Bernie Sanders talked about this. John Bolton and I have nothing in common politically, but last time I heard, in America, people are allowed to criticize the president of the United States without the FBI showing up. Just another step in Trump's Trump's march towards authoritarianism. This is what you guys are supporting, you know? And it doesn't have to be like that, and I encourage you to just wake the up. You know, you guys were scared that Biden was going to what? Make you wear a mask? And he's literally sending the military into American cities. Deploying the military against its own citizens. And you guys cried about wearing a mask? You know what I mean? Like, you just hate people. Or you've been duped. And if you've been duped, that's fine. You know, I'm here to encourage you to just admit it. I got duped. That old spongy fart, he duped me. His wrinkly tan and those orange tan lines, they they tricked me. He had me fooled with that orange tan. I thought he was, what's his name from the Jersey Shore? I forget. He was old Pauly D. He was looking like Pauly D from the Jersey Shore. Blonde Pauly D, and he tricked me. You know, like, just admit. Hold on. Who said, CJ, where did Rob ask for the super buys, the super chats? Oh, CJ, I had said I'm going to completely ignore liberal triggerer. That obviously cool dude who has an avatar of a meme from like 10 years ago, the Hillary Clinton crying girl, and just comes in here and just talks rubbish. He talks about how he loves, you know, Trump deploying the military against the citizens, and just one of the fanatics who just constantly defends him. So I said, I'm just going to ignore all of your things. And I said, if you want me to mention you, you could do a super chat. So that's when I said it. Liberal triggerer was the one who I said, if you want me to say what you're going to come in here and spout off. What's up, Chief? Good to see you. 52% of Americans dumber than shit. What's okay about citing citizens out against each other? You mean what's okay about sending troops against citizens? The military is going to clean the crime. But where was it? So, so here. This is ABC News. I linked this down below because, again, Trump's saying I'm going to invade more cities, American cities, with the American military. It's all a distraction. He's trying to keep Epstein out of the news. And as long as he's saying shit like this, authoritarian takeover, like, this is absolutely bananas. What did this dude do with Epstein? Hokey Pokey 333 Cicadia Inc. $10. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Trump bows down to BB and is scared of them. Who's BB? Oh, Netanyahu. Netanyahu. If you don't realize that, La Kosher Nostra runs the world, then you can't see the light. I wouldn't even say just him. He clapped. He had Putin here. Yesterday on the live stream, we played a clip of when Zelensky came, and That's the notorious clip of J.D. Vance saying, "Have you even said thank you? Have you?" And they berated him. And Trump had all his buddies to back him up like a puss, had all his regime sitting in the room. He had all the press there and let everyone go after Zelensky. When Putin came, what did he do? He rolled out a red carpet, and as Putin walked to him, he was clapping. And said, "Get in my car with me by myself, little smoochy smooch." Absolutely, he is owned. And that was part of the clip. Hokey Pokey 333, thank you for the super chat. That was part of the clip that John Bolton addressed. They said, does Trump know when he's being like put on by these foreign leaders? And Bolton's like, no, he don't know when people are flattering him that they're just, sucking butt. That they don't mean it. They're just saying like what he wants to hear. And again, you see what happened today with John Bolton, but it's just incredible to me that anybody can support this anti-American agenda. It's absolutely bananas. Trump is a Putin licker. He's a Putin licker. I think he's going to try to give Putin Alaska too, Bobby McPherson. But who knows? That's what I was equating the Ukraine thing to, because people call it a war, and I'm like, it's not a war. Russia just invaded them. Imagine if Putin was like, Alaska's mine, Would you guys be like, well, we just got to give it to him, or we're just going to keep being in war? You'd be like, no, this is bullshit, man. And somehow we got people being like, they should just really give part of their country to him, Of course, that will just end well. He wouldn't want any more after that. It's just like Joe Rogan when he said, Elon Musk has $1 billion. Why would he want your money? It's like, do you not know how Elon got that billion? He didn't work hard. For Christ's sakes, when he was a special employee in the government, he had a video game system set up in his office so he didn't have to work. He hired a guy named Big Balls. Like, this dude does not know the first thing about working hard. Oh, it's exact. Name one war Trump ended. I could name one he started. In LA, he's at the National Guard. DC. Now he's talking about Chicago, New York. He's literally going to war with the American people, And if you want to clean up crime, that's the other thing. If you want to clean up crime, you make people more prosperous, You make sure they're not homeless, they're not hungry. Groceries aren't $50 a bag. That they have rehab clinics, stuff to reintegrate them into the community. Ask anybody who's been to prison if when they get out, they're like, I'm ready to reintegrate. Our prison system doesn't work. Look at the ones in the Scandinavian countries where they rehab them. They work them so they can come back into the communities. It's like, it's just common sense, never mind historically accurate. So Trump is literally, what he's saying is he's going to war. And like Hokey Pokey said, he's owned by Bibi, he's owned by Putin. You got to wonder what these guys got on him. Or maybe they have copies of the list that we're going to talk about. Maxwell, link down below to this ABC article. This is, again, reports of what Maxwell had said when she met the Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who used to be Trump's lawyer, defended him in his criminal thing. Maxwell said, there is no list. And again, this is just reports because they met privately. If he cared about the victims, and wanted to protect the people that weren't the predators on the list, he would meet with the victims. He wouldn't move her to a lower security prison to break all the rules to get her there. But they're not. They're meeting to make sure she's going to say this. There is no list, Maxwell told him. I'm not aware of any blackmail. I never heard of that. I never saw it, and I never imagined it. She's even going out of her way to say, I've never even imagined this stuff. Who, me? Who, little old me that's in jail for 20 years for being Epstein's right-hand woman? Who, me? I would have never imagined it. She says shit like this, and then they send her to a prison with no walls that's called Club Fed, or Club Camp, or Prison Camp, whatever they call it. I don't give a shit. Making our communities so much less safe. Sending a message to anybody who's that kind of criminal that will break the rules, because those kind of offenders are not allowed at those prisons, at those easy street prisons, because of the nature of their crimes. And the president is saying, we don't care about that. We'll send you there if you do good by us. She's already being released on work release. Oh, I haven't read that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Wait, KRAR. Stevie, exactly? What did Stevie say? Hold on. Stevie says, respect is earned, not given freely. And he says, exactly. Crazy somebody can disrespect everyone and demand loyalty and respect. That's what you see Trump doing. Outside of Ghislaine Maxwell, no joke, he wished her well. I haven't heard him respect anyone. Biden got a cancer diagnosis, and these asshats were like talking rubbish the next day. But notice who he does give respect to? It's insane. It's insane. Actually, the National Guard was in New Mexico last year, remember? No, I don't. But are you saying that is comparable? I don't understand what that comment is. Are you saying like, oh, well, Biden did it in New Mexico, so Trump sending it to LA, DC, Chicago, New York, and all the other places, and out of vengeance, pure spite, there's no real issue here. It's very see-throughable, if that's a word. But I don't understand your comment. Are you just saying like, well, so it's okay for presidents to do this? Because what I would say is like, if Biden had done that, it's not fucking okay. Look, I don't know. Whatever. We need some calming stuff. Okay, is everybody recentered? The governor of New Mexico sent them in. Well, I've heard some things about New Mexico where it's not the bee's knees, as they used to say before they had the cool skibbity risma language. Hey, what's up, Gmo? Good to see you. Good to see you. We've conquered almost all of the news. Thank you for your attention to this matter, everybody. I wanted to talk about the hype. Did you guys see this? Hold on. No, not this. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. This was the story about Trump wants to redo all the grass. While you're worried about the price of eggs, don't worry. Donald Trump's redoing all the lawns in D.C. Oh, and I think I put this down below. Did you see this? Because of the tariffs, we've talked about the business that have closed, the prices that have gone up. Because of the tariffs, parts of Europe are suspending postal shipments to the U.S. and your order may not arrive. So Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and I talked about this, or I shared this in Belgium, are halting shipments on the 23rd. And I think I shared a story in my community post or a video of an Australian lady who was talking about the tariffs. And she said her whole business, she runs a small business out of her home where she ships a lot of stuff to America. And I guess there was some kind of, shipping regulation where if you're a small business and it was under $800, you didn't have to pay certain things, and you could just get your stuff sent through. It was meant to help small businesses that can't incur those costs. Well, with the new Trump tariffs, those are going away. The custom exemptions that allows low value packages to enter the country duty free. And the exemptions they're going to suspend it the 29th. So shipments under $800 to cross the border with minimal paperwork and no duties are going away. So with that, is this the other part of it? No, this is the other story. So with that, basically, who's that going to affect? Not Jeff Bezos, not Elon Musk. It's going to affect all the small businesses. But if you buy stuff on Etsy, and it's from another country, like in Europe or Australia, purchase it now before the 29th because your order just might not come. Again, have you even said thank you to Donald Trump? Have you said thank you for this? Greatest grifter ever. Thank you, the truth. And then I'll just mention this one too. The Smithsonian, if you saw, Donald Trump was triggered. Our gangster government, who runs like a mafia boss, a very sensitive one, they're sensitive and triggered by museums, and they called them woke, even though they're just showing our history. So they came out with like a list of some things that were too woke that made the president very sensitive, and he didn't want to see them anymore, so he's getting rid of them. Here are a few of the different things that they listed. I think here more over here. No, this is the other story we're going to get to. But this is some of the list. Again, I put the link down below because you should really read it. And when you read these things, whether they use the term woke or not, which woke just means you're awake to the injustices of the system that we have in place. It's a very old term, but they use it to mean like stuff I don't like. Just remember, they're saying this museum is so woke, I want it gone. Like they're so offended. The people who made fun of safe spaces need a safe space in the museum. Like they can't see certain things. These people are so sensitive. Again, this is how you need to understand this. They're saying these museums offend me. History has offended me and triggered me so bad. I have the power to tell people to get rid of it. So it's incredible. Here's the other thing, and this one's really, really good news. Hold on. Oh God, this story. I think I don't know if I linked this. We're not going to get to this one. Portland neighborhood. I know I got a lot of friends up in the Pacific Northwest, especially here in the chat. There's a school, because of the federal agents tear gassing and using toxic chemicals, the public school has abandoned its campus. This administration, this regime really does not care about kids. But this is what I want to talk about. The alligator Alcatraz. This is great. That it's closing. The horrible thing is, I want you to think about how many billions of dollars they've used in Florida and in Texas, billions of your tax dollars to build prisons that now a judge has said the government cannot send any more migrants and they must remove all generators, gas, sewage, lighting, fencing, and other waste items in the next 9 weeks that help over the next 9 weeks that had helped it transform into that airstrip into a detention center. So if you don't know, environmental groups and the Miccosukee, I don't know how to pronounce that, my apologies, tribe, are arguing that the state and federal governments cut important corners when erecting the site in a matter of days, using your tax dollars to absolutely trash the Everglades. They cited irreparable harm to the facility that could cause to the Everglades. And then they talk about endangered species, the environment, the Florida panther, all this stuff that these people just don't care, you know. And if you're supporting them, I just want to be very clear. If you support them, this is like your doing. So be aware of that, you know. It's never too late to say, you know, don't say this isn't what I voted for. Say like, this is repulsive. I don't support any of this, and I'm going to go hard against it. Unless you just want to take away the Florida Panthers' protected habitat, destroy lives, all while wasting your tax dollars. They wasted it. They erected this, and now they're going to have to use your tax dollars to take it all down. So it's absolutely bananas that they're just doing this stuff. But this is what I wanted to talk about. YouTube has a hype genre section. I don't know, something. Conspiracy theorists in the house. We got conspiracy theorists. Awesome. Hokey pokey. You can drive down. You just can't get very close. In all fairness, alligators do enjoy Mexican food. Oh my God. Oh my God. I get that you're joking. I allow it. But we know it. Well, you know what? I get that was not hateful at all. The homeless people would love that place. It's better than sleeping in the streets. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's 110 degrees. They would just more enjoy homes, not a prison. Homes. That's what we have a solution to homeless people, guys. It's called homes. And it would cost the taxpayer less. Utah did this, and I talked about this on live streams. It's in the book, Utopia for Realists. Utah gave homes and counseling to the homeless, and it cost them less, the taxpayer. When homelessness was criminalized, it cost the taxpayer $16,000 per person. When they just gave them homes and counseling, it cost them $11,000 per person. And they saw homelessness drop by like 70-something%. So guys, the answer is there. It's just people want to, like, have become numb or normalized to cruelty, and they'll support people like Donald Trump who just want to criminalize the homeless, which is wasting your money and hurting our communities. You know, there's a solution, and it's not what he's doing. He's a moron. By the way, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I'm here every single weekday, sometimes on the weekends. I might hold a church service on Sunday. I am an ordained reverend, you know, so it's not going to be your grandmother's church service, but you can wear your Sunday best. But we'll see how that goes. I've been plotting it out in my head. Mark Green, I'm from Utah. You're full of crap. Do you know your history, you moron? I love when people are just like, I'm from there, you're full of crap. Like, number one, we don't know. Go post a short that you're from Utah. Go walk outside, post a short on your channel, because I tend to not believe these people 99% of the time. But also, it's, Jesus Christ. It's well documented in this book. Well documented by a historian. So you should really, if you claim to be from Utah and you don't know your own history, you should really read this book, because it was a very, very popular program because it helped vets and people with disabilities and addiction, and it almost stopped homelessness. And it's just shocking that even someone from there has no idea about it. But the book is cheap. Like I tell everyone, don't buy it on Amazon. Go to eBay, find somebody's small business on eBay and buy it from eBay. Utopia for Realists by Rucker Bregman. Now let's get into Matthew Hansen. I hope you're having a good day. Let's get into some hype stuff. I'm your vibe coach, and if you go to the YouTube sidebar, you'll see they have a hype section. And I was like, how do I hype videos? Like I told you, I know people are like not all into hitting the like button, but when I go to someone's video, especially if I like their channel or they're a small creator, I always hit that like. I just do it. That's just my personal policy. I like to support local creators, small creators. I love to do that. So as soon as I heard I could hype a video, I thought, I gotta know. And I Googled it and it didn't make sense. It said you can swipe the chat over, and in that chat, like on a live stream, once you watch it later, or once you come into it, you can do the live chat or swipe over to the comments. And I'm imagining it's like that, but I'm on the YouTube blog right now. I don't have it there, but it said, today at Made on YouTube, we announced a series of product updates to ignite creativity. One of the coolest things about YouTube is a variety of creators, I would say so. The passionate people making videos. First, an explainer. Hyping is all about helping emerging YouTube channels grow by connecting them with new audience. If a video has been out less than 7 days from a creator with under 500 subs, you can hype it. Oh, so it's got to be under 500 subs and out for less than 7 days. And go beyond liking and sharing. The more hype it gets, the higher it climbs on a new leaderboard with the top 100 hyped videos from the week. Anybody can hype up 3 times per week. Oh, only 3 times per week? In the future, we plan to allow fans to purchase additional hypes, unlocking another revenue stream for creators. Oh, that's cool. Don't worry, hyping videos won't influence your YouTube recommendation and search results. So what's in it for creators? Well, when viewers hype your videos, it'll earn points to help you make it into a weekly leaderboard just for your country, potentially putting you in front of a whole new audience. And we've even got a small creator bonus built in, or a point multiplier to channels with fewer subs. Want to make sure everyone has a fair shot at the spotlight. I like that, because if you know anything about the trending channel, I would always critique that, because it was always Mr. Beast, some Mexican cowboy rapping, and then like soccer. Sorry, I had to check the vibe. So how do we get here? I'm going to skip around a little bit and see if there's anything else. The future of hyping. We're beyond excited for next hyping content on YouTube. We're planning to expand in markets, beta tests. Oh, some of you commenters are beta testers. So I guess that's it. That's from the official YouTube blog. But I want to share that with you because I thought that was a cool new thing that YouTube's doing. Hopefully it stays organic. Hey, what's up, Jimmy? Who's getting 3,500? That's BS. Who said that? Or did somebody finally get their Doge dividend check? Wait. Oh, there's the snare. Okay. I gotta record something for next time. I just grabbed this before I went on. Sorry. There's something on it. Gross. Gross. What is going on? What a loser. Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you in my live stream? This is your vibe check. Please put on your seatbelts. Everybody, if your vibe is off, put on your vibe mask before helping another. I think we covered all the news, folks. I'll be very honest with you. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to come back on Sunday, or I might go live tomorrow, but here's the thing. If you want to come back on Sunday to the Church of Radical Communion, I implore you to. It's going to be like if I do this, it's going to be unlike any church you've ever known. Powered by the good Lord Jesus Christ, to put all you skibbity-risma betas right in check. But seriously, we're going to talk about the good Lord's message, how he was anti-capitalists, and he wanted churches to pay taxes. CJ, Gma, Chief, Rose B coming in with the comments, loving it. KR, AR, I like that. I like how it rhymes. Teal Rochelle. That's a cool name too. I appreciate you guys in the chat. Corporate welfare is the problem, not EBT. That's right. Give people anything they need to eat. We are in the year of our Lord 2025. There's no reason kids in America should be going hungry right now. More EBT, more food programs. Less corporate welfare. Let them fail. Let them go to jail. Let them be held accountable. I'm so tired of people bootlicking these billionaires. Got too much money, don't know what to do with it, but then they get mad if a kid doesn't want to starve to death. My Christ. Imagine if we treated all the kids that stole a candy bar like the CEOs who, did way worse things, like the Roblox CEO. Who's doing nothing to protect the children on his platform. Imagine if we held them as accountable, as a collective, as a society. That's what I'm trying to do. Plant some seeds, get you to think differently. JW, shut up with the give somebody an opportunity to learn. There are people out there with disabilities or addictions or whatever it is that they should just be able to eat. They shouldn't have to earn their food. I hate that shit. You know how much food we throw away in America? This is where I'm the radical left. I get why this is radical, because some people were like, they should have to earn their food. They should have to earn not dying. And I'm like, that's fucking dumb. I've seen the dumpsters. I've seen how much food gets thrown away in this country. And that's fucking stupid. No kid, no old person should ever have to struggle or starve in this country. Ever. And that's why I'm the radical left. Because even you might be a maggot. You might support Trump and be hungry or worrying about the price of eggs. And I say you shouldn't have to earn that. We've come too far as a country. Let the fucking robots earn it. All right. Chief. Love seeing you, Chief. Good to see you. Garden programs. Yes, Jimmy. Garden programs. More food programs. More garden programs. Go support Kneecap, by the way. All right, guys. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I appreciate everybody stopping by with me. I hopefully covered a lot of the news. Hopefully now you know what hype is and hyping videos. I'm going to test it out later. I encourage you to too. Stay wise. Stay critically thinking. Remember, when you hear Trump's takeovers and stuff like that, it's just a distraction. He's trying to distract. The Valigator. I worked in food service for most of my life. Every corporate job I had threw out bags of food daily. Thank you for the $5 at Valigator. And yes, I have two. My brother has two. I think it's almost a rite of passage for people of a certain age. And those jobs, by the way, they should pay a living wage. You should be able to buy a house doing one of those jobs. Again, why I'm the radical left. But like the validator said, I worked in food service for most of my life. Every corporate job I've had threw out bags of food daily. No one should go hungry in this country because somebody wants to profit more. And to profit more, they need that scarcity. So instead of just giving it away, they throw it away to produce that false scarcity. It's so disgusting. So that's what separates me from when you say, oh, he's a liberal, Democrat, progressive. No, I don't think people should have to earn their way to not starving in a country that throws away bags of food. Solidarity, Validator. I hope you've hit subscribe too and notification bell. I want you coming on back. We need more people thinking so radically different that we can create a country that isn't just for rich Nepo baby, Epstein's best friend, punks who just want to focus on redoing the White House's lawns. And we need a country where people are like, no kid should go hungry. That's what makes America great. No kid, no old person goes hungry. No kid should have to work to fucking feed themselves. You hear yourself chatter? No kid should have to earn it. And if their parents can't because they're already working 2 jobs, then those kids should just be able to eat. They shouldn't have to go hungry. And 1 in 5 kids go hungry here in America at night. You subbed. Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. That's it for me for tonight. But maybe I'll be back this weekend. Maybe I'll hold a first church service on Sunday. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? You leave it in the comments. I think it'd be interesting. Everything, rent, food, and housing. Yeah, Charlie, we pay for it with the billionaire's tax that we implement. We did it here in Massachusetts, millionaire's tax. No kid has to pay for lunch at school. They get it all for free. It's amazing, just from a wealth tax. So I encourage you to follow suit. We should tax wealth, not work.